I thought all in all, I thought we started the game the way that we wanted to, with good defensive energy, good ball movement. Would have liked to have shot the ball a little bit better from the perimeter in the first half. But we really just continue to challenge guys to make the right play, execute offensively and defensively as much as humanly possible, because these games are so valuable for us as we continue to try to come together as a team and get to know each other, get to understand being better at executing offensively and defensively. And I think for the most part, defensively, we did a solid job. But I think there's still more that we have to be able to accomplish and execute better.
How much do you try to work your lineup around and mix people? That's a big thing, I think, right? To get people to learn to play with each other.
Yeah, I think there's certainly some idea of trying to get guys some opportunity in game. It's, as coaches, we all want to believe that every opportunity is going to be earned in practice, and a large majority of them are. But I think there's a different feeling when you have the uniform on and people are watching, right? And so getting out there and experiencing that, and getting out there and trying to figure out, against somebody that doesn't necessarily know what you're doing is important. And so I think trying to get guys a bunch of minutes, a bunch of possessions, some real situational type stuff is important, especially early in the year.
We talked about this in the beginning before when you were out in the hallway there a couple of days ago. We talked about this team versus the group of guys you had that were new last year. Do you feel like, are you seeing this team take it a little more seriously than, I don't know if that's the right word, but they had so much success last year. It seems like the guys I talked to looked at what happened last year and they want to continue that, whereas the guys last year didn't have that to follow. Do you feel like these guys, this early in the season, are plugged in a little better?
I think it's a day-to-day proposition. I think certain guys are been pretty consistent in their work. I think there's some guys that got to come along in their consistency. We still are trying to figure out who we are as a collective. So it's, every day matters. Every day is so important. Every rep, every drill to me is, an opportunity to create opportunity for yourself, to build trust with your teammates, to build trust with your coaches. And I think some guys are doing a good job of that. I think we need some more guys that are thinking in that mindset.
How about the perimeter shooting? You mentioned that. I imagine you want to see it a little better than what it is here right now.
I think we took some, for the most part, I thought we took some really good ones. I think what happens sometimes, though, is like when you finally get fully comfortable with what you're doing offensively and defensively, I think shooting then kind of manifests itself. So, like, if you're thinking about, is this a good shot or not, or am I in the right position, or, I just am not always ready to shoot it early in the year because you're still kind of figuring out, execution. But I thought, we had some good ones in rhythm. I thought there was a couple we probably could have shot faked on and maybe continued to get into the paint. But obviously our emphasis was to try to get the ball into the paint and establish that. And I think Nikos and Deshaun are, really good at passing as well. So I thought that really opened up some opportunities for us.
Do you come into play any differently versus like an exhibition game versus like a big on the road game with Drake? Like, do you have a different mindset coming in, or do you still try to kind of be the same?
I mean, I think as coaches, you're always preaching, having that consistency of mindset, right? Regardless of opponent, regardless of situation, how can you go out and play the right way? How can you go out and execute on offense? How can you go execute on defense? How can you approach the game with the same mindset that you would every game on your schedule? And that's, a hope for coaches. I thought these guys did a good job in their shoot-around today, in their prep today, in their warm-up today, in the way that they approached the game. And like I said, I thought we got off to a good start. I wish we would have been able to sustain that in the beginning of the first half just a little bit longer. But that is one of the fears of, sometimes playing a game against a non-Division I opponent, that we're not going to take it with the same level of importance that we would against, another Division I school. But that's the challenge and that's the test. And we talked about a lot about this the last 2 days with guys is like, this is the test of your maturity, right? Can you do the right thing because it's the right thing? Can you do the right thing because it's going to pay dividends for us at the end of the day if we can create the right habits? And the best chance for us to be successful is to create the right habits. And so every opportunity we have to do that, we've got to be trying to create those habits. And if we make mistakes, we then got to learn from them and we got to correct those, right? That's all part of the process of becoming a good team. So I think for the most part, we did a good job with that. But I think there's certainly, coaches are always looking for more.
Thank you.
All right?
Yep.
Thanks, guys. I was, yes.